Before we get started today, let me just say this. For everyone who watched the game last night, I'm talking about the Nets-Wizards game. The Russell Westbrook segment is coming. It's coming. I know he's healthy for the first time in forever, and he's got his bounce back, but I want to take my time on this segment. I didn't have enough time to get it done. You're going to have to wait till Friday because do I ever have lots of things to say. So let's get into really what I want to talk about, which is this. Do you know what I'm tired of hearing?
That Giannis is a top 5 MVP candidate, that the Bucks are favorite to win the East, maybe that they have a 83% chance to win the NBA title.
I mean, that percentage was crazy when ESPN put that out.
Horrible.
I was like, they're not going to win the first round.
Well, yeah, just 83% is a wild number.
It's a bubble year. That was just an insane. But yes, I am tired of hearing that, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is Luka and the Mavs. How many goddamn times am I going to have to hear Luka drops 30, he balls out these crazy stats, and the Mavs lose? In a Mavs loss, Luka goes off. The shit is gross. It is. He's top 5 in the MVP race. He's averaging almost a triple-double. He's averaging 30, 9, and 9. And they're 13th in the Western Conference. And it's concerning. It's not like they're just losing in a last-minute fashion. Sometimes they go down 20 in 5 minutes. Sometimes they blow a 20-point lead. The only thing that's a constant with these Mavs games is that Luka goes off, and he's gassed, and can't finish. He can't be Superman for the entire 36-40 minutes. The only team that they've beaten of note is that 150-point game against the Clippers, and Lord knows Luka was fresh in that game.
Yeah, no Kawhi either.
No Kawhi, and the game was over before it even started. The Dallas Mavericks are 8-12. They've lost 8 of their last 10. So I have to say this. Danger! 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 Get on the floor! Come on. Big question, how did they get here? Bigger question, why were their expectations so high coming in? Why? How did they become a team that everyone thought was going to lead the West? I had listeners hitting me up like, Trysta, how much better did the Mavs get with all this 3-and-D that they've added? And I believe my answer in the preseason was like, did they get 3-and-D help? I don't remember them doing that. I don't remember adding those pieces. Josh Richardson? Are they thinking of Josh Richardson? I was prepping for this segment and I was like, I don't think so. I saw a news story from a month ago, and the news story said this: Dallas Mavericks, why they crushed the offseason. Dallas Mavericks are in a position to contend. Shit.
Okay, so here's what this Big J had to say about the Mavs. The acquisition of Josh Richardson is going to do wonders for this team. Richardson gives the Mavs a gritty and raunchy edge that simply wasn't there a season ago. While losing Seth Curry hurts, the Mavericks still have all kinds of scoring throughout their rotation. And while he's unproven, did add Tyrell Terry in the draft to replace some of that dead-eye marksmanship from the three-point line.
Tyrell Terry?
Mm-hmm.
Dead-eye marksman?
Yeah.
He's averaging 1 point a game. That writer also said this, that Josh Richardson could D-up Kawhi. Imagine thinking, in any universe, that Josh Richardson could put clamps on Kawhi Leonard. Imagine thinking you could compete against the Clippers. The reason that you got Josh Richardson was so that you could beat the Clippers in the first round. You're not even going to get one game off the Clippers now that they have Serge Ibaka.
Yeah.
And Nick Batum. Let's be real. Let's just call it what it is. Spade is spade. This Mavs roster is not good. Look at that roster from start to finish. Jalen Brunson is your third option. Tim Hardaway Jr. is your fourth option. Stunning. It's not even like they were great last year and then they just lost pieces. The only guy they lost was Seth Curry. And I'm not trying to slander Seth Curry, but he's not the reason that you're underperforming now.
Yeah, he's not a team killer.
No. It's not like, oh, I'm building around Seth Curry. No one ever has said that. No one. They might have mispronounced Steph Curry, but not about Seth Curry. Luka has covered up how bad this team has been. Let's spit facts for a second. They were 3-5 in the bubble last year in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
They were 2-4 in the playoffs. And everyone was sucking their dick coming into this season, and they didn't get better. Because of Josh Richardson? Josh Richardson's the reason you're going to be a contender?
Luka made that cool 3 in the bubble.
Be serious. He had that step back, and everyone's like, oh, my God. And, like, those 2 wins that the Clippers, that the Mavs got over the Clippers, those weren't, like, astounding wins. Those were last-second wins.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand it whatsoever. Josh Richardson? The only reason that Josh Richardson is who he is and everybody thinks he's so good is because he played for the Miami Heat, and Miami Heat is the reason that he was playing well. You saw what he did when he was on the Philadelphia 76ers. Not much,
Nope.
Or they wouldn't have gotten rid of him. They should have tried to go get Tobias Harris. Even Luka's like, this is ridiculous. I played in Europe my whole life, and I've never played with lazier people than I'm playing with right now. Like, this is crazy. Like, Europe is the king and queen of, like, work-life balance.
Yeah.
They're all, he's like, my teammates are normally on the beaches of the Adriatic Sea. And at least they cared whether we won. Here is what Luka had to say after their last loss.
Evaluate y'all's play and effort tonight.
Terrible.
Can you elaborate?
There's really not much to say. I never felt like this, and we gotta do something because this is not looking good, and we gotta step up and just talk to each other and play way better than this. It's mostly effort.
Yikes. I've never felt like this. It's not looking good. It's mostly effort. And later on in the next part of the interview, he says, it looks like we don't even care if we should win or not. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that, I don't think. You're paid to play games to win them, and you just don't care whatsoever. A 21-year-old is like, yo, what's up? Are you guys wanting to compete? Like, yo, compete! Compete! Play basketball. This is not a winning culture. And then Kristaps said something. What did he say post-game?
Yeah, here, I've got it. He said, we don't have that chemistry yet that we're looking for. We don't have our roles clear. We're just kind of out there playing. We're a talented group, but until we have everybody playing together and having also some time off the court, I think we won't have that chemistry.
Excuse me, who? Who is we? Who? Kristaps is acting like it's not him. Until we have everyone playing together, we won't have that chemistry. Hey, Zinger, you are the one that's not healthy. You are the one that tore your ACL and had to miss multiple seasons to recover. You are the one that sits out back-to-back games for maintenance reasons. You cannot build chemistry from the bench. No, you cannot. And no one's going to want to hang out with you if you don't play games with them. So when we're off the court, like we're going to build chemistry off the court too. Like you're always off the court.
Right.
You have to play together and not half the time. You have to play all the time. You have to develop a rhythm in those big moments in order to feel good when those big moments come again.
Yeah, and Kristaps has played in about half of their games this year, I think.
What's wild about that is that they are 3-6 with him in the lineup. This 13 team in the Western Conference is statistically better when he's not around. And this is a roster that he's the second best guy on. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's actually he's actually playing in less percentage of games in Dallas than he did when he was on the Knicks. Like 75% for the Knicks, 73% for Dallas.
I mean, it's brutal. I don't think that's what the Dallas Mavericks were anticipating when they got Kristaps Porzingis. So let me fill you in, Mark Cuban, on a little secret. Porzingis isn't good anymore. He's not good. He's brittle. He's never gonna be good anymore because he's never going to be healthy anymore. That's just facts. His prior injuries make him completely immobile. And then, on top of that, he still needs to miss time just to maintain where he's at. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Have you watched him out there playing defense?
Oh, yeah, no, he's stiff as a board.
Dude, it's like his feet are stuck to the court. He just gets cooked. Absolutely cooked because he can't move.
Yeah.
You're 7 feet tall with ligament issues and you're underweight. And the facts are you are maxed out at like 40 games a year. And it's not like you're a cheap player. The Mavs traded 2 first-rounders and some table scraps to the Knicks for Porzingis, and then they had to sign him to the Supermax for $160 million.
Yeah, and they also took on Tim Hardaway's crazy deal that they're still paying. I think he's making like $17 million this year.
I mean, how do you lose a trade to James Dolan? Yikes! This gets worse and worse the more I think about it. That's like getting spotted 2 strokes a hole to Charles Barkley in a match straight up and still losing to this dude. It's impossible. It's impossible. How long is it going to be before Luka either breaks down because he's the number 1, number 2, and number 3 option, and you know he's a hard rock. You know he's going to do everything that he can to keep them in games. And then now he's got injuries. That's tough. How long until Luka's like, I don't really want to be here anymore. Dallas is fine, but like Milwaukee's not that cold in the winter. I like Walt Disney World just fine. Like Orlando seems good to me. Anywhere else but here. You're not getting me any help. This dude that's supposed to be my big man, 1, can't guard anyone, and he's barely even around. I do not think that the Mavs have played this correctly. They think that they have a European who's got the patience of Dirk Nowitzki, and I promise you they do not. He's not going to wait 18 years to get a ring. No way. Prediction? Don't ratio me for this. I know that that's what Twitter and TikTok even wants to do now. This Mavs team might just fuck around and miss the playoffs altogether. This league! Here's a little known fact. I am a world-class musher. Meaning, every time I get excited about a bet or a team, they stumble.
Yep.
I'm not a bad gambler per se, but the games that I consider the lock of the century, a.k.a. Utah Jazz -2.5 against the Denver Nuggets, that is when I take an L. That could be said about segments too. As soon as I create a segment like, oh my God, this team is sick, they do what they did. If they have the game before I record, bet everything on the other team that they're playing. So yeah, I was juiced on playing and writing about how the Jazz were built to contend. 11 straight wins. Conley, underrated, playing like an MVP, locking guys down, being a playmaker like you read about. Gobert earning every penny. Holy moly, Jordan Clarkson playing like the second coming of Lou Williams. Ooh, I was like,
Yeah, they're 11-1 against the spread in their last 12. They're just like killing people. I didn't bet them on yesterday. Sundays I just try to get away from basketball betting because I do too much during the week. But yeah, I gave when they played the Hawks, I gave that out as a lock and they won. So
yeah, so I unfortunately bet the first half and the full game, and both times I got fucked. So. Of course, in Trysta Mush fashion, the Jazz went out and gave up 79 points in the first half to the Nuggets. Yeah. 79. 43 in the first quarter. Just so bad. Just so bad. How does that even happen? I didn't. That was not what I anticipated when I called them. They messed my entire parlay up. Them and the Wizards.
Tough.
Number 1 in the West, and then pow, clunk. Just terrible. Anyway, a bad game is a bad game. And this is, of course, not an X's and O's podcast. That was more stats and numbers than probably you'll ever hear. But just know that I'm aware of this atrocity. I still want to say things. We've had the Donovan Mitchell talk. The world has. But nothing really is going to change my mind about the long-term chances. Even when I was writing this in my mind, like, okay, what am I going to say about the Jazz? I thought, you know what? Maybe they're still built to contend. This is just a one-game thing. I admit it. I was on the Jazz gravy train. When a team's hot, they're hot. I like winning money. I get excited. And you know how recency bias goes. We've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. When a team's hot, you're like, damn, they could beat anyone. But nothing can change my heart. And that cold water game was perfect. Because I remembered what I knew to be true. Which is when this team goes cold, it spreads like the Black Plague. Everyone is cold at once. Spider, 3 for 12. It's not great. Conley, 2 for 10. Clarkson, 4 for 13. People, listen up. Listen up, you little Provo, Utah residents. This is what I've told you multiple times about the Jazz. This is not marginalization, Kira. When this team goes cold, they go ice cold. Ice cold! They are about as out of rhythm as you would imagine someone from Utah to be. Just offbeat, clapping, off the snare, just unaware of how dancing works. Like a team that you would expect to be called the Jazz from Utah, just like totally not in sync with music. I mean, it's not usually one game. I'm probably going to take the other side of these bets for the next 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And guess what? That is a bad recipe for success in the playoffs. Let's say they finish third in the West. That's not a stretch. We know it's probably going to be Lakers, probably going to be Clippers, right?
Yeah.
So say they finish third, and they've got to face the 6th seed. Who could that be? Oh, Phoenix Suns, your team.
Just could be.
Hate that matchup for Utah. Booker, Ayton, Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges. Jesus Christ, that's a bad matchup, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Horrible.
I mean, these dudes are going to cook them.
DeAndre Ayton is ascending. People may not be aware of it, but his last 10 games have been special.
I cannot wait for the Ayton-Gobert matchup.
Me too.
Ugh! Yikes. Portland Trailblazers could be another team sneaky. Dame time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I don't care if you have Gobert. Let him have 50. I don't care. Nurk will be back by then, and his Canner's sneaky. Even the least likely scenario is the Golden State Warriors. Let's not act like that's a walk in the park. These dudes are certified. They've played in big games before. You don't think Steph Curry and Draymond can give a little rah-rah speech to get these boys up? Yeah, I know that's probably not what's going to be the case, right? But do I think that they would beat the Jazz? No. But can they? Yeah. Who's more likely to go ice cold in your mind? Steph Curry or Conley and Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
It's a pretty easy. This is not a Spider Haterade podcast. But 11 games in a row in the regular season is not going to make me change my mind, folks. Mm-hmm. It's just not. I'm happy for Mike Conley. He's got resurrecting his career, nice guy, having an MVP-like season, even averaging 17. It's like, yo, Mike Conley is the reason that the Utah Jazz are winning.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
Until this team proves to me that they're not going to choke away a 3-1 lead, I don't care how many games in a row they win. I am still super skep. Thank God for those cold water games, or I might have lost my damn mind and said some shit I might regret. So the song coming into this segment is all about being in your feelings. You know what I love about basketball in general? How close the crowd is to the players. That does something to the ego of the player. It's not like football. You're as close as I am to you right now.
Sometimes
if you're
closer,
courtside,
yeah.
Sometimes closer. Sometimes they're like on you. Mm-hmm. They fall on you. When you're 10, 15 feet away from some random fan courtside and you get embarrassed by your opponent, imagine this. A thought, sitting there with their low-cut top on, bodycon dress, oily tan legs, looking at you like she wants to give you the business, boy. Ooh. And you're like, yes, I'm going to get her number after the game. She's ignoring her man. And then right next to her, you get posterized. What do you think that cocktail does to the male ego? Does something. Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing more embarrassing than getting embarrassed in front of someone that you want to have sex with.
Facts.
Just nothing.
Yeah.
You are one of the people that she came to watch perform, and then you got someone's nuts on your face. You couldn't perform. It was like you needed Viagra to do your job. Someone's got to be the one with the nuts on their face, and that was you, and you think you're going to be able to smash after that. You better do something to reply and put that in her mind with the recency bias. Something happens. You know what it does? It makes you want to compete.
Act like you playing basketball. Act like you playing football. Compete. That's what bothers me. Many of y'all are not competing. I need effort. Compete.
I need effort. It makes you want to compete, to ball out, to play hard, to not get embarrassed in front of people that you visually see who paid money to see you. To avoid them getting up right in front of you and walking out the door because you suck. The boos, the screams, the disappointment, the judgment. That plays into how you play basketball. I swear on my life. That's how it is. That's how different it is than the NFL. They're right there. And earlier this season, in the NFL season, I sat down with soon-to-be Pro Bowler Jesse Bates III, who plays for the Cincinnati Bengals, safety. And I asked him what it was like to play with no crowds in the season, and this is what he said.
Do you think the crowd noise has impacted anything for you?
Yeah, a little bit. I think without the fans, it kind of feels like a scrimmage, honestly. I still get that hype, that feeling. I never take that for granted, but yeah, I like when the fans are screaming and stuff like that on a big play. It's kind of hard to celebrate. That's probably the hardest thing is, you make a play and I'm looking up in the stands and I see cutouts and I'm like, yeah, let's go to the cutout. So it was cool. It was cool to have some fans at home last week against the Jaguars. That was pretty cool.
What about with hard counts and stuff that you can hear? Does that make it difficult?
For me, I mean, I'm not really down there in the box as much,
right.
So I'm not really hearing the snap count or what they're saying up there. But yeah, I'm sure for the linebackers, it's a lot easier. I mean, even for quarterbacks, it's a lot easier for them to hear what we're saying as well. So, yeah, that's going to play a huge factor for sure.
Who do you think the lack of crowd noise benefits most? Like which side of the ball or what position?
I would say the offensive lineman. You think about, when you're on the road, you have to use the silent count because it's so loud. And now instead they can actually hear the quarterbacks and the DNs. That usually how they get their get off is a lot better because the O-lineman has to look at the ball. Now they can just really look at them and set and really hear the snap count. So I think that's who really benefits from it. And I've heard that from our O-linemen and the other O-linemen on other teams that's what's going to benefit them this year.
So even the NFL is affected by the lack of crowds, and they're wearing helmets. They're 250 feet away at minimum from human beings that judge them. The human beings that are judging them don't even know what they look like most of the time. They can see them at the grocery store. Imagine, you're going to see that person at the grocery store, no mask on, and they're going to be like, ugh. Imagine how the lack of crowds affects the NBA. A lot. That's the human element of the crowd. The human element of the crowd is what makes basketball. So that to me is why this season is different than any other season. That to me is why you see guys like the Mavs doing nothing. This is different than any year, including last year. Their entire regular season is now like AAU. That fucking sucks, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Or a scrimmage between opposing teams, just light touch. Just walking the ball up the court, walking around screens. That's you, Milwaukee Bucks. This is why the Nets Wizards can hit the over with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, no matter what the number was. The over-under on last night's game was 242. They almost hit 300 last night, Marty. 295.
Yeah.
295. Gross. No defense. No urgency to play defense. No crowds to hold them accountable for not playing said defense. No one chanting, "Boo! You suck! You're trash! My son hates you!" Yikes, right? No one be like, "Defense! Defense!" to remind you, yo, D up.
Yeah, there's no way it feels like playing in an actual NBA game. There's no way.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't care how many little screens someone's zooming in. They see you clap. That does not matter. You can't really see them. They can't really interact with you. I saw a stat. This is going to be an insane stat. You're not even going to believe this. The Clippers have shot right around 700 threes this year. And 600 of those threes were uncontested.
That doesn't even sound real. Wait. 600 were uncontested.
600 of the 700 of the Clippers' threes were uncontested. Either that means we don't think you can shoot, or we don't want to guard shooters. That doesn't seem real, but neither did the Clippers losing by 50, which actually I think adds to the point, which is that when teams go down big, they just lay down.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, fuck it. They don't even try to come back most of the time. God bless the Wizards for coming back in last night's game. God bless them. And Bradley Beal, you have to see the highlights. He was fed up. He was throwing the ball. It was bad. He looked like him and KD were going to catch hands.
Ooh.
Why? Why do you see teams lay down? Because they are not embarrassed. No one is in the gym to look at them with disgust. Like, ugh. Ugh. I have, to me, a brilliant idea for a solution. It's a little unorthodox, and you may not like it.
What is it?
I think you give all the olds who have the vaccines in their blood free courtside tickets to the game.
Okay.
Those salty, elderly men and women would love nothing more than to boo and hiss Kyrie Irving for all of his antics, all of his dribbling. They're like, "Boo! Where's Bob Cousy?"
Coos!
Coos! Old people, they have no patience for this bullshit. No way. They're already in a bad mood when they wake up. They're in pain. They don't like to go anywhere. Their joints are tight and painful. Ailments aplenty. Even perfect basketball would piss them off. This new school game in person? I mean, they've got to be livid, right? They're just, ugh. They are used to 65, 60 NBA games where it's like two-handed set shots and underhanded free throws. Dunks aren't allowed. This game? Boo! Boo! They've got their cane clacking. This might be the thing that fixes things. Or another idea. Here's another idea. Give the vaccines to the thoughts first. Give them out to the thoughty thoughts. Put them on the court. Licking their collagen-filled lips like, ooh, yeah. Their low-cut tops are jiggling, giving them the fuck you eyes. That might encourage these players to, I don't know, compete. Do your job. Play some defense. And then maybe, just maybe, because sex is the ultimate motivator, we might finally see some real basketball. All right, let's get into some listener DMs.
Okay, number one, we've got, is it worth it for the Nets to give up anything for J.J. Redick? They have so many shooters.
Marty, come on. Come on, man. Come on. Tough question to ask. I mean, they did follow it up with they have so many shooters, so they kind of already know what the answer is, don't they?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. The Nets just put up 146 points in a regular season game, and they lost. I think it's safe to say they don't need any more offense. If the Nets get J.J. Redick when they already have Joe Harris. Maybe they're thinking about trading Joe Harris. I don't know. But if you have those two guys on the same team, they're like the same guy. Only J.J. can come around the screen and hit a shot. And Joe Harris is more like that corner 3 guy.
Mm-hmm.
Both pretty boys. I don't know what it is about people just wanting to hang out in Brooklyn because their family lives there. But I'm telling you this, J.J. Redick. That's cheating. Go play for the Knicks, fam. If you want to stay in Brooklyn, just go play for the Knicks. This doesn't make any sense. We already have a pretty boy with a podcast. KD has his podcast during the season. Their defensive rating right now is the worst in NBA history. Right this second. And guess what? J.J. Redick is not going to help that whatsoever.
No.
So, no, I don't like that trade whatsoever. I think they need someone who can play some D.
Yeah.
Who do you think that the Nets should trade for right now besides Andre Drummond?
Ooh, I mean, who's available? Shoot.
It's got to be someone on the wing. You know, this is a crazy thing to say.
Oubre?
No. Guy, that's a way to stop your offense,
Yeah.
boys, getting Kelly Oubre. A guy who thinks he's a shooter who is not a shooter. I mean, you need a real 3-and-D guy. What, Josh Richardson? No.
Ooh.
Come on now. Come on now. I think you need I don't know if this is even a real trade, and I gross myself out to even say Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving straight up.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. That improves your deal. I mean, if you could get Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle.
Oh, yeah. Thybulle's great. I mean, as little as he can do on offense, he's all-team, first-team all-defense
I mean,
caliber.
if you could get those two boys for Kyrie Irving and then maybe trade Joe Harris for them, and then maybe you get J.J. Redick to replace. Oh, yeah, we're playing GM right now. Oh, yeah, we're playing GM right now. I think that could work.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
I think Philly would like that, actually. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't. Philly's playing great. They're probably staying pat. It's tough. I am looking forward, though, to the point in the season. The chatters are already starting. Steve Nash, your boy, is going to be fired, Marty. It's a matter. He's not even anywhere to be found. I don't even think he's calling plays anymore. Unless he's doing these rotations, which we know are garbage, he's getting fired. Count on it.
It's so disrespectful.
Next question, please. I'm not. Next question, please.
Okay. Who is the NBA Rookie of the Year at this point? I have an answer. I'm curious what yours is.
Who is your answer?
It's LaMelo.
It's got to be LaMelo,
Yeah.
right? He is better. Number 2 overall pick. Better. No, 3
He was
pick.
2.
Was he?
Yeah.
No, it was your boy Ant Edwards, and then it was James Wiseman.
Oh, you're
and
right.
then
He was 3.
LaMelo.
Sorry. Yeah.
His court vision is sick.
Oh, yeah. He's awesome.
I have. I think I haven't seen someone love to pass the way Melo loves to pass, except for Jason Williams.
Yeah.
It's been since White Chocolate, by the way. Can't name someone White Chocolate, by the way. They're already doing that. I think it's Peyton Pritchard's new name. You can't replace that.
Mm-mm.
So it's dope to see someone. I mean, and Gordon Hayward's thriving
Oh, yeah.
with LaMelo.
Yeah.
Just setting them up. But the player that must be talked about is Emmanuel Quickley.
Definitely. Yeah.
He is on not only a surprise team, but he's probably one of the reasons that they are a surprise team. He's allowing R.J. Barrett to turn into who R.J. Barrett is supposed to be. R.J. Barrett's having an all-time efficient game or season. Just Paul George recently, yesterday, called Quickley crazy, fearless, and Kawhi said sky's the limit for Quickley. Just another example of, hey, GMs, it's not that hard. If there's a Kentucky player available, you take that Kentucky player that's available. Doesn't matter if you have the need or if you don't have the need. Most often, they turn out.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler Hero, nobody was talking about him. Don't overthink it. It doesn't matter. If I had a child right now, I would put him in a Kentucky onesie.
Yeah.
Like immediately. If I had a little boy, I'm not having any kids, so for folks who think I'm breaking news here. But if I did have a son, Coach Cal would be his greatest hero. He would be watching YouTube clips of Coach Cal. He's averaging 12. Quickly is averaging, not my son. Quickly is averaging 12 points in 20 minutes a game. That's crazy. Like, that is nuts. And it's almost like the Knicks finally made a good decision.
On Tibbs?
Tibbs and Quickly.
Yeah.
I think both of them together. Tibbs is the ultimate, like, get players ready. He's almost like a Kenny Atkinson.
He's good for rookies because
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You're not worried about like running them out of the gym.
Correct. Like, he's great for young teams. Like, that was what Kenny Atkinson did on that Brooklyn Nets team too. Just ran them down. Not great at managing egos, obviously, but really, really great with young guys that he can mold.
Yeah. Okay, next one. We've got, what does the Raptors franchise need to do to get some respect?
I mean, not be 10th in the East, probably. not be in another country, probably. I like the Raptors. They're like my pet team. I love Nick Nurse. He's a friend of the pod. But let's just say this about Nick Nurse for a second. Me and Nick Nurse were supposed to do an interview, and Nick Nurse was like, hey, let's chat when I get down to Tampa. And then after he got down to Tampa, it was like me and Nick Nurse weren't even friends anymore. I think he is emotionally must be going through it.
Yeah.
Because work-life balance, so important. And he's so out of rhythm. I mean, you're just living somewhere that you don't live for an entire season.
Yeah, it's
72
crazy.
road games. You can't get into a rhythm. You can't find your coffee shop that you love. The people that are around that you want to see, can't see them. It's tough. You can't do that. You can't lose Gasol and Ibaka and not be impacted. We talked about this before.
Right.
I mean...
Maybe he's just a big strip club guy, Nick Nurse.
No way. No way. That would be tough. I think Nick Nurse is top 3 NBA head coach, and I think it's just a tough season for him. I think the Raptors will be back, but Tampa Bay is everyone's worst nightmare, except for Tom Brady, I guess.
Right.
And until then... Yeah, I mean, you just got to move. You can't be in Toronto, and you can't be 10th in the East. You got to contend.
Yeah, they need to reload it a little bit. I think they're going to be good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. Who is your most hated NFL team?
So I could say the Washington football team, right? Division rival, Cowboy fan. I could say the Eagles. Wow, by the way, the Eagles team, their new head coach is just, he's like Adam Gase. It was like an Adam Gase viral moment.
It didn't start out great.
I mean... Yuck. But when I think of a visceral reaction, a team that just makes me kind of want to vomit in my mouth a little bit, a team that I never will root to succeed, I think about the New England Patriots. I know that's tough to say, working at a company that's success has been correlated to the success of the New England Patriots. But I think we're okay now. We're valued at like $1 billion. I think we're all right. I think we're going to be all right. But I don't want the New England Patriots to ever succeed ever again. Ever. I don't think I can root for any player that even plays on that team, besides maybe Julian Edelman. I mean, at least I can root for Chase Young and the Alex Smith comeback story. At least I can root for... I don't know that I can root for anyone on the Eagles, actually.
Yeah, that's tough.
Nope, I can't. But still... There's no people. I don't root for the... Nope, it's the Patriots. I can't stand them.
Okay. Back to basketball. Do the Sixers have what it takes to win the East? And what does Doc add to their success?
Doc's big-time addition. Doc and Daryl Morey, big time. Doc Rivers. Let's just talk about Doc Rivers for a second, because this is what the DM wants. Doc Rivers chose Seth... So the Sixers were trying to pursue Austin Rivers. Doc gets the job, and he's like, nah. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like, don't, let's not get Austin. I've already coached Austin, and he's not that good. Facts. You got Emmanuel Quickly playing more minutes or playing bigger minutes than Austin Rivers. I like Austin Rivers, but Doc was like, no. Never forget that. That's funny to me. That's like, we're going to win games over the nepotism. And that's been a knock on Doc because he got Austin that huge contract. He's good now.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid playing his best basketball under Doc. He's no longer forced to stay in the paint. He's like, roam around. Hang around the three-point line. We'll use you like Jokic. He's killing right now. He's looking like an MVP. Unlocked. Brett Brown was trash.
It's looking more and more like that.
I knew this for years. They just kept keeping his ass around for God knows why.
Yeah. This is the culture. It's going to work eventually.
It's just it's trust the process. No, like make changes. So he also no one's talking about Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris played his best basketball under Doc, and now Tobias Harris is free to do what he does best. Like they had Tobias Harris running ISO sets last year, and it was gross. It was bad.
Yeah.
So Doc gets Harris, and now he's hitting quick threes, making swing passes, doing these calculated drives to the rim. He hit a game winner the other night.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a rookie in Maxey who's making big strides just like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did under Doc. So the one thing, though, that I could say about – so I like the Sixers and I like Doc. The one thing that I will say about Doc that he should be doing that he is not doing is holding that man Ben Simmons accountable. He's playing the worst basketball that he has in his entire career, which is saying a lot. He's shooting more and shooting worse. He is just like kind of covering up for him in media availability too,
Yeah.
which just doesn't make any sense to me. Problem. So the 76ers, yes, can come out of the East as long as Miami is still broken.
Yeah, that's a funny way of looking at it. Okay, how can the Orlando Magic become relevant contenders in 4 years?
So I was looking at the Orlando Magic earlier, and I looked at their roster, and I was like, wow, this roster is actually like pretty good.
Yeah.
This roster is better than the Mavs roster. That's crazy. You could go
Yeah.
down the list. Let's just go down the list for a second. Magic roster. Cole Anthony, like him. Aaron Gordon, like him. Nikola Vucevic, I can't pronounce that. Markelle Fultz.
Vucevic is the most underrated player in the league.
I
I
100%
think. Yeah.
agree. Fournier's okay. Bamba's
Don't Google it.
Don't Google it. Bamba's okay. Jonathan Eisen's okay. Yeah, there's some players. Terrence Ross. This is a much better team than the roster. If you go down the roster of the Magic, you're going to be like, yikes.
Yeah.
Al-Farouq Amino, former Blazer, sneaky. James Ennis, sneaky. Yeah. I mean, what do they need to do to be relevant contenders in 4 years? They need a big-time free agent. That's what they need. They need someone that they can give the rock to in crunch time, which is not Cole Anthony. Let's just be serious.
Not yet.
You think maybe at some day?
I like to be optimistic for young players. Players have surprised me before.
Who is the biggest surprise that you weren't sure about that has come out and is now like a legit player?
Honestly, I was pissed when we drafted Devin Booker. I thought,
Wow.
Yeah,
Who did you want at that point?
I think I wanted Trey Lyles, who got drafted right before.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't. That is a good time to say that's all the time that we have for this league. Jesus Christ.
I love you,
Marty.
Devin.
That's all the time that we have for this league. Please subscribe, rate, review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. If you send me screenshots of you unsubscribing and resubscribing, I will find a way to reward you. We've got some merch that's coming, maybe a sweatshirt. I have a backpack from Soul Pack that is for hoopers. I'm not sure how many hoopers are listening, but it makes a huge difference. We also have This League hoodies on sale in the Barstool store. So thank you so much for listening. We'll be back early, squirrely Friday morning, and I promise you, first segment, unless something crazy happens, is Russ.